This is a quick instruction video just to sort of run you through the plans and projects part of the Wales Activity Mapping website. Basically, this section is intended to be a data inventory, primarily for use of marine managers and developers in carrying out habitats regulations assessments. And plans and projects are basically those sort of types of developments that require some sort of specific statutory consent or authorisation or licence or permission from a competent authority before they're allowed to proceed. So that's what plans and projects are, as opposed to sort of different sorts of activities. Well, I'll just walk you through this basically. There are two areas where you can sort of zoom the map. There's this area down the bottom where you can basically move large sections, and then you can use these to sort of zoom in on a specific area. You can toggle over here, or you can actually draw a zoom, a rectangle if you wanted. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more on the area just north of Ramsey Sound. There we go. There is also this button over here that can be quite useful. If you just press that, that gives you the option to either have an OS mapping layer as your base layer or a simple coast outline. Sometimes when things get a bit complicated, it's useful just to have that outline. I'll just put it back to the OS mapping. Now then, over here, this is the European Marine Site Plans and Projects tab, and as you can see there are various options here. Basically the overview option just gives an overview of the project itself, and then down here we have different sort of categories for the specific consents. If I just click on a few of them, we should start to see just here. You see we have a project here, the Tidal Energy Ramsey project. I'll zoom in a bit more. At the moment these sort of polygon shapes are sort of just been arbitrarily drawn just as an example. So you can see we've got several polygons overlapping on top of each other. If I zoomed right out to see a large scale map, you would then get these symbols, but as you zoom in closer and closer, then you get to see the polygons. As I said, these are just sort of examples at the moment. Basically, if you then go over those polygons and right click, it will bring up the information window. And this here will list all of the information for those polygons. Now what we have here is we have the overview, the ones that we've tagged here, we have the overview polygon, but we also have ones associated with the specific consents. This first one here gives the consent detail for the Coastal Protection Act licence required for this project. So you can see the various data fields, the applicant, the relevant legislation that consent comes under, who the consenting authority was, the reference. I'll just add actually that you can also click on any of these highlighted headings and it will take you to this document, which is effectively the help or glossary section. And as I'm scrolling down here, it has all of those headings defined. There we go. So if you have any trouble understanding what any of those headings are, you can just press on there. I should have said that also that same document actually comes up if you press on these headings too. So this gives you basically an understanding of what actually this tab within the Wales Activity Mapping is. And as you can see here, overview summarises the overall project and lists all the consents associated with it together with their outcomes. The detail on the individual consents can be found via the other layers, as in abstraction, deposit, dredging, etc. So if we go back to this information window that I got by right-clicking on Polygon, it gives you all of that information. This is basically what happened for that particular consent. So in this case, this particular consent, which was the Coastal Protection Act licence for the Ramsey tidal energy project, this is habitats regulation assessment. Was there a likely significant effect? Yes, that was the conclusion. Was there an adverse effect on site integrity alone or in combination with other projects? No was the conclusion in both cases. CCW advice was that there was a likely significant effect, but no adverse effect on site integrity. And then if there was more information associated with that particular consent, whether it be the screening for likely significant effect or an appropriate assessment, then if they're available, they would be found here, and you could just click on the link. If I scroll down this list though, because remember there are several polygons on top of each other, we've also got a polygon which is for the FEPA license for that project. Again, all similar fields. And then there's one for the European Protected Species license. Here, there's actually a document. We've just put in some just for testing at the moment, but this is a tidal energy project document, so you just click on that link and it should take you straight to the PDF. There we go. And then you can sort of browse that or download it as you wish. Marine Works consent decision. Oops. And then if we keep going, oh, another one, Electricity Act. I think there were 5 individual consents for this project. And then here we have the project overview. They just come up in a sort of a fairly random order, so you have to scroll down this long list to see everything associated with that project. So this was the project overview, but here you can see the consents, the list of all the consents for that project. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 specific consents, and then the summary. And here we have again sorts of some more general information, a scoping report, which isn't particularly tied to any individual consent, so therefore it's been placed under this overview section. If you carry on further down, you'll also get to see some reports which are applicable to this particular area within the map, and these could be things like the Pembrokeshire Marine Special Area Conservation Management Scheme, but also they're referring to other data which is within this activity mapping website. It could be mooring, slipway, survey information, etc. Infrastructure information too, which could be quite useful. So if we zoom right on out, we can always use this box to move ourselves a bit faster. If we go and look at the waterway, for this particular plans and projects layer, a lot of the information is going to be within the waterway, because it's just, especially within this industrial section, there's an awful lot happening and has happened within this section. So there you go, if I've zoomed right out and now I've got some symbols. If I just click all of them for now. Then you'll see several symbols building up. At the moment this is just some sort of example data. So not all the data at the moment is being completely verified. If I zoom in again, oops, I'm not doing that very well. I should be able to click and drag a section. Oh, not working this mouse very well. Okay, I'll use the old-fashioned method and then just zoom in. And again, if it's getting a bit complicated, I can just have the coast outline. Slightly less busy. And there you can see it's just a few points on the map at the moment. There will be a lot more as some more data is entered. It's just in the beginning phases of the project at the moment. I should also say that down here is the filter. Now this can be quite useful for especially doing the habitats regulation assessment in combination assessments. So for example, within the Pembrokeshire Marine site, you might be wanting to see all of those projects which could affect the reef feature, and so you can sort of then sort your data to find all of those projects which at the moment are tagged to having some sort of relevance to the reef feature of the SAC. There you see some of them have gone, and you've got this one here. Again, as I said, when all the proper data is entered, this should all work quite well. At the moment we've got limited data in here, but you can see that all the features for the SAC are there, and so you can search for them each individually. So that's just about it really for your quick tour. If you wanted some help on just basically working the system as it was, then you can go to this help button here. Otherwise, I think the only thing I've got left to describe, if I just go back, is if you wanted to make a comment on any particular bit of data in there, you wanted to add something perhaps. There is, let's just do this more quickly by going here. Let's go back up to the tidal energy Ramsey example. And then if I open up my information window again, oh, I need to move up further. That's Skomer Island. Let's go further north. I'm in the middle of St Bride's Bay. There we go, Ramsey Island. Oh, zoomed right in on these polygons. If I right click again to get that information box for all of those different polygon areas, there's this email comment. Now this is your opportunity to put in your own email address and then a comment which will be tied to this specific place on the map, and you could sort of example say, you've missed a consent, there's also this particular consent for this area, I have the information, please get in touch, or that there might be something incorrect on there that you want to correct, in which case you can basically just email the details, send the message, and that will get through to myself, Sue Burton, which I can then sort of update and upload onto the data inventory. So it can be self-correcting. It's only going to be as good as the information that's put into it, so basically we're in the process now of gathering that data and getting it in so we can have as full a useful inventory as possible to help in habitats regulation assessments. Okay, thank you, hope that was useful.